Here is the coaches poll. Number 1, Texas. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Penn State. Georgia, Notre Dame round out the top 5. Clemson, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, and Miami are your top 10. So when you look at this list, which college football coach do you think is under the most pressure? Because I feel like it's pretty clear, and we can bring in Double D at some point because he's our resident Penn State fan. Isn't it Penn State? Like under the most pressure. This is a club which is returning Drew Aller. They have Nick Singleton, Katron Allen. They have a top 10 defense returning. They got Jim Knowles from Ohio State. Penn State has not won the Big Ten since 2016. The last time they won a conference title before that was 1994 for a program that has as much history as Penn State. That's not many titles over the past 3+ decades. So is James Franklin under the most pressure? Is it Brian Kelly? Mario Cristobal? We can go down the list here. Tell us, what do you think?
Yeah, it has to be James Franklin.
Right?
Because this feels like the year for Penn State. All of the factors are aligning. All of the players are there. Like, you look at how many weapons they have on the offensive side of things. Drew Aller's back. They've had all these guys forgo the NFL draft to come back for another year at Penn State. And how many people have said something about Penn State and they say, okay, they have all the weapons. They look great on paper. But the one reason why a lot of people will not bet on Penn State, James Franklin. He is the number one reason why people don't want to bet on them. So when the coach is built into like the sabotage factors, that means your coach has a ton of pressure because you have to disprove a narrative that's been floating around for quite some time that James Franklin can't win the big one.
Yes, I think that's totally true. If you like Penn State this season, and everyone is saying, look, this is their year, 7-1 to win the national title. They are also 7-1 to be the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoff. They are plus 240 to win the Big Ten. All right, Double D. I think I see a Penn State logo on your shirt or something like that. Yep, I sure do. Tell me why the pressure is not on James Franklin. This is clearly, at least on paper, the best team he has had in Happy Valley.
Well, let's clarify real quick.
Okay.
Are we talking about losing their jobs if they don't win, like, the national title?
No. Just under pressure, he's not going anywhere. I mean, they're going to have a great season.
No, he's not. So
right, no, that's not the question. The question is, which coach is under the most pressure, not which coach is going to get fired. I mean, none of these coaches, I don't think, get fired.
Oh, Brian Kelly absolutely is under an extreme hot seat, 100%. Yeah, I think it's Brian Kelly and maybe even Lincoln Riley. Is there pressure? Yes. The expectations for Penn State are absolutely national championship. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say or bust, but national championship, at least making it to the national championship game. Let's say that. For me, I think Penn State fans have just come to the realization that, like, until they beat Ohio State, it's status quo. At least that's where my mindset is. I've talked to Chris Mack a lot about this. That's his mindset. Until they beat Ohio State, we can't expect anything else than making the college football playoffs and maybe making a run.
So this is crazy to me. I don't know if all Penn State fans feel this way, but if the idea is you have to beat Ohio State to win a national championship or a Big Ten title, which you're right, like, if not now, when? When are you going to do it where Ohio State is going to be great this year, but also they're replacing a ton of starters, right? Penn State has a ton of starters returning, their quarterback, their backfield. Franklin is right there on the cusp. If you can't beat Ohio State this year with all of this talent, when are you going to do it?
Never.
Yeah.
We will be, I will say this. If Penn State does not do it this year, they will be bridesmaids for at least 10 years. At least 10 years, if not forever. They will be brides. They'll make the college football playoff more times than not, but they will never win a national title, at least in the next 10 years.
I agree. Chelsea, who's next on this list? We think James Franklin. I think we all believe James Franklin is number one. I mean, he's got, if he's going to do it, this is it. If not, it's going to be, you know what? Enjoy making a bowl game, making the playoff. You hope for the best. I will say, I kind of think maybe it's Lincoln Riley over Brian Kelly. What do you think?
It depends on what the fan base at USC is feeling about Lincoln Riley right now. Because it feels like there's been a dramatic shift in what has been expected at USC simply because the NIL deals have come into the fold, and you don't get, the recruiting stronghold that you used to get being in LA. It used to be a big sell. Now it's like, okay, how much money do you have? But I don't know. I think it's because USC is kind of faded as one of those like premier programs in college football, because it used to be one of those programs that routinely turned out NFL quarterbacks. Like it was, no big deal. And they still do. It's just, I don't know how the expectations are this year from people who follow USC, because I'm not on the West Coast. And honestly, I don't know that many USC fans. So I feel like I'm not like super qualified to answer that question. But I will say at LSU, where they're used to winning, where they're used to being a powerhouse in the SEC, I think there is some white-hot pressure on Brian Kelly. And you could even hear it in some of his answers in his press conferences, even last year. Like, didn't he have, like, those table-beating moments where it was almost really awkward to watch, where he's like, that should have been our win. And you're like, oh, my God, let's dial it back a little bit. So you could see it in his eyes how much pressure there is in Baton Rouge, because there is such a culture of winning. And that's all they have there. And LSU, I know they have the Saints kind of close by, but still, they have such a rich history of success that I do think there's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, I think so too. And look, part of this is because Brian Kelly decided he would leave Notre Dame to come to LSU because he wanted to play to win a championship. And then he's looking back and he's seeing Marcus Freeman play for championships right now. So, okay, if you came to Baton Rouge to win a championship, it's your time. You couldn't do it with Jaden Daniels. Now you have a Heisman Trophy candidate in Garrett Nussmeier. And I will say he's been remarkably consistent. 9-4, 10-3, 10-4. Going back from 2024 to 2022. But look, you're right. The fan base in Baton Rouge is much different than other places. It's much different than the fan base in Miami, or much different than the fan base in LA. So those Tigers fans want to see a championship on the board. And I think, honestly, I don't think his demeanor helps. The whole red-faced demeanor. He's always angry. And you tend to give coaches that you love a little more, that you appreciate a little more. Maybe you give them more of the benefit of the doubt. Brian Kelly is not warm and cuddly. He's a guy that, all right, come on down, but you damn well better win.
Oh, exactly. Like, he is not the loved son that Coach O was, or hell, even Les Miles. Like, he was not the lovable figure down there that those two coaches were when they were icons at LSU. But let's flip the script a little bit, because I think the definition of most pressure, a lot of it has to do with how high the expectations are. And Jenks, your Longhorns are favored to win the national championship. Arch Manning looks to be the surest fire prospect there is at quarterback. He is the favorite to win Heisman. So how do you think the expectations have changed for Steve Sarkisian? I'm not saying that there's pressure on him, because I don't think people look at him and say, okay, I'm not betting on Texas because I don't believe in Sark. But you get what I'm saying. The expectations this year for Texas, if not now, when?
I think they have a 2-year window with Arch, is what I think. And I think Sark would probably admit that privately. Like, this is their time. So, and they've been really close. I think he gets a lot more leeway than some of these other coaches, because, the whole Texas is back thing was such an albatross. And now that's been blown away. Like, that's not even a question, because they're the only team in college football to have made it to the college football semifinal the last 2 seasons. So they've been right there. So I think maybe after this season or next, then the seat maybe could get hot a little bit for Sark. But ultimately, the way he's taken this program and completely turned it around after just a decade in the desert, right now people are still very appreciative of Sark. And I have to say, I feel very much the same way.